What's up guys, Calisunsetgaming with you again, and today we're going to be talking about FIFA and EA Sports splitting up, ending the relationship, no longer together, Ninos partnerios. I'll stop. With EA and FIFA cutting ties with each other after FIFA 23 is released, it throws up a whole host of questions like, what is the future of football games going to be like for football fans, and whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. So let's take a deep dive and assess how the future is going to look for us football fans. So this video is obviously different from some of the other videos that I've done. I want it to be a little bit more informal, and I just want to get my personal opinions across, just because I think this is something that is probably something that fans should be excited about. The reason that I say that is EA Sports and FIFA announcing that they're no longer going to be partnering up to release football games is something that a lot of people will be shocked by. And if you haven't had the chance already to read the articles and sort of listen to the news that EA have been releasing, basically I'll give you a quick breakdown. EA Sports and FIFA have both announced that their partnership that's been going on like since I was born, Jesus Christ, is going to be ending. And straight away, FIFA announced that the game that's going to be released after FIFA 23, presumably in 2024, is going to be called EA FC or EA Sports FC. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Anyway, immediately off the bat, EA Sports have been on this massive media campaign sort of saying "in the club" as their tagline, not really releasing any details about the game, but essentially saying that, look, this partnership's over, but EA Sports making football games is definitely not over. FIFA, on the other hand, what a lot of people probably don't realise, because FIFA aren't really the media moguls that EA Sports are. Like, as much as I give EA Sports shit, and I'll admit that I do that, their press team and their media team are fucking chef's kiss. Do you know what I mean? The ability to generate hype for what I've got to say is probably 9 times out of 10 a pretty bang average football game, it's second to none. They are geniuses, and FIFA are competing against those guys in terms of sort of saying we're releasing a football game. So a lot of you probably won't realise the fact that EA Sports and FIFA separating doesn't just mean that EA Sports will now be releasing a game. FIFA have come out and said to like some of the big media outlets like Sky that they were going to be releasing their own football game with loads of different features, and it was going to be the sort of flagship of football games internationally. Now, there's a few problems with that I'll probably come back to a little bit later on, but what I want to do initially is just focus on EA Sports FC or EAFC or whatever they're fucking calling it, I don't know. The media campaign that they've done already is basically like, we're separating, but it's not going to sort of deter from the product. A way that a lot of the media outlets have been saying it from EA's perspective, it's almost as if they're trying to say that they had creative differences. Whereas I can't really imagine that FIFA had a lot of creative input. They were just sort of a sponsorship, or like, I can't imagine that the director of FIFA sort of having any sort of creative input on how the game is made. So I don't know the finer details, but to me, I feel as if it's just a case of FIFA wanted more money, EA Sports said no. The partnership ended. At this current time, we don't really know what FIFA have in store in terms of the game that they're going to release. In the articles that they have released, what they've said is that they're going to be able to boast unrivaled sort of authenticity in terms of sponsorships and football teams, player faces, things like that, because I imagine FIFA would hold a large element of the rights to most of that stuff, but they ain't game developers. Like, to me, this could, for FIFA, this could go one of two ways. Like FIFA saying, you know, we're going to have all these player faces, all these sponsorships, all these stadiums, all these international competitions, the World Cup, the experiences that you know and love, they'll be there. Like, you ain't ever made a fucking game before, guys. Like, who's making it? You're not, because you're like a footballing governing body. Like, you guys don't know the first thing about making video games. So, where are you getting that information that your game is going to be the flagship of footballing within the country? I don't know. I think they've just got an idea in their head of who they want their games creators to be. And I mean, this is probably what excites me most about the situation. If 2K go into partnership with FIFA to release a football game, boy, that's going to be some hot and spicy meatball. 2K NBA games are incredible. Back when they were making wrestling games, incredible. When they were making hockey games, it was the same. The level of depth, statistics, player growth, player career mode, the career mode itself, just everything so in depth, storylines, everything. EA Sports have never even got close to that in terms of what they offer for their sports games. If it goes that way, FIFA could be a really big contender. With EA Sports, this is where it's a little bit difficult for them. The reason it's difficult is because we know what EA are capable of, and for a long time they've let us down with a lot of the products that they've released. And I'm not afraid to admit it, one of the main reasons that I stayed with the franchise is down to the fact that they had sponsorships. If PES and FIFA, or the FIFA that EA Sports released, that's going to get weird, looked the same in terms of EA Sports didn't have any sort of sponsorships or anything like that, the same as PES. Like, PES only had limited leagues that had fully fully endorsed leagues. If they looked the same, which one would you play? Forget Ultimate Team. If we're just talking about career mode, which one would you play? Like, to me, it's PES all day. Like, PES's depth in the career mode and the player career mode was awesome. So good. It's just a bit difficult that Konami have obviously gone the way of free to play, and the game at the minute is just a hot mess. This might actually spur them to come back, which is another thing that I find exciting. Konami might see an opportunity within the market and sort of say, hold on, the market's completely opened up here. We might be able to slide back in, release another full title to be able to compete with the likes of FIFA and EA Sports that have never been separated before. And because they're now apart, they're both lacking. And Konami have been doing it since day one. So they've got sponsorships from different leagues. They've been sort of chipping away at it over time. FIFA now is going to have all the authentication, all of these sponsorships, no fucking idea how to make a football game. And EA are going to have some reasonable knowledge about how to make a football simulation, we'll call it. But they're not going to have any of the sponsorships. Like, the market is there for the taking. But there's another side of it as well. Like, Konami could easily go with FIFA. FIFA could just sign a contract with Konami. And then it would be... fucking hell. Like, at the minute, that's how up in the air this all could be. I think for both sides, it's incredibly difficult. If you were to ask me now, like right now, which game are you going to buy? It's hard to deny EA Sports based on the media campaign that they've done already. Immediately, David Beckham's involved. You've got multiple football teams immediately saying, we're part of the club, and then posting pictures relating to EA Sports FC or EAFC, whatever it's called. So, at the moment, their media campaign is like, shot them straight up, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I know, like, it might not seem it at the moment, but it's probably like a really exciting time to be a football fan that plays video games. FIFA 22 to me is a step in the right direction. Don't get me wrong, it's not perfect, and there's plenty of issues that I have with the game, but it's clear that since the new creative directors have come in place, they are intent on making a more sufficient immersive experience for players of the game, and they're not just focusing on things like Ultimate Team. There has been developments in career mode, you can't deny that. Whether they've been executed very well is a different story, but at least they're taking steps in the right direction. That provides me with like more excitement to see what EA Sports are going to do. Obviously, we don't really know what the result of FIFA 23 is going to be. It's going to be the last title that they do together. Is that going to be something that EA Sports deliberately jeopardise or not really pay much attention to because they're already working on their own solo title? Who knows? The market is basically blown wide open. Konami have currently got a free-to-play game that sucks ass, and they've done it. I know why they've done it. It's down to the fact that they can't compete with FIFA. They couldn't compete with FIFA. That's not a thing anymore. FIFA and EA Sports have separated, and they are both weaker than what they were when they were together. FIFA because they've never made a football game on their own before, and EA Sports because they don't have any of the authentication that they had whilst they were with FIFA. Konami can easily slide back into that gap. Not only that, but there's other football games that are coming through. 2K are in a position at the moment where they could easily slide into the market and just take advantage of that as well. And like I said before, if 2K team up with FIFA, man, I don't know. I just know that I've got a lot of friends that used to play football video games and have not played it in ages just because of either the scripting, the poor quality of the games that have been released, or the overall cost that you have to invest in the games to be able to enjoy them to an acceptable level. This just blows that completely wide open, and is not only going to be an exciting time to be a football fan that plays video games, but an exciting time for football fans who want to try something new. Thank you guys for checking the video out. I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy the content, make sure that you smash a like on it. Consider subscribing as well. I want to be doing more videos like this, just long form, me talking shit, basically. I've got an expensive mic, I might as well use it. Look, I've got a massive podium for it, just as a flex. Because that's the type of fucking guy I am. Make sure you leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts on the football genre in gaming and what excites you about it. Is this something that worries you as a fan, or do you think, no, bring it on, change is good? In my opinion, change is good, and I am super excited for it. FIFA 23 is going to be a game that obviously I purchase. I do career modes, it's one of the main components of my channel, but who knows where this is going to take my YouTube channel. Where am I going to stay? FIFA, EA Sports, Konami, man. Lots of choices to be made. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time on Calisunsetgaming.